Merry Christmas Eve, everyone.
Merry Christmas Eve.
I'm Anthony Stickert. I am assisting pastor of service today, and I am here to give a short little message, not a full sermon, just a tiny little message on our fourth week, which is love. I was here for the first week, which was hope, and I gave a little message on that, and tonight's theme, obviously, is love. Love is a strong feeling. I'd say out of all four, they put the best one last, and that's love. Love controls most of our lives. You might not know it yet, but soon enough love will bring us to what matters most. The people who surround us, the communities we have, the jobs we will have, the money we'll make, the homes we'll have. It's our life. Whether we know it or not, God finds that path for us through hope, peace, joy, and obviously love. To the families here that we normally don't see, greetings. To people who have returned and who are members of Immanuel, greetings. Make sure to take this Christmas into account of loving one another more than you think you do. Make sure you greet your neighbors in a more greeting. Instead of saying, hi, how are you? Say, hey, how's it been? Kind of get more deep in your conversation and ask how they really are in life. What are they up to? Try to make this community more of a community. More of a community through love.
During this past year, serving as pastor in a time of transition, I've learned a very sad lesson. I try to make references to popular culture, but more and more of these are no longer current. They're history, even ancient history. So I felt even worse when several weeks ago I was reading a story about one of the greatest popular Christmas songs, Mariah Carey singing, "All I Want for Christmas Is You." The writer was analyzing the popularity of that song because it is now 25 years old. The author wondered about the impact of that song on a movie, or the movie on a song. That is the movie called Love Actually, almost 10 years ago. If it will make some of you old-timers feel better, the best-selling single recording of all times, of all types of music is "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas," originally recorded in 1942. Preparing for our time together this evening, my mind went to that discussion about popular Christmas music. During our 3 midweek Advent services, we have considered the words assigned to the Advent wreath, the words you see across the way on the banners. Hope. When we look to the future, is there reason not to despair? Peace. Is there a way to move beyond the turmoil in our hearts and in our homes, in our nation, and in our world? Joy. What brings us through? What lifts us above the spirit-deadening circumstances that so easily smother us? In the progression of this calendar year, what would be our 4th midweek Advent service actually falls tomorrow on Christmas. So we decided that for the 4th candle, the word we haven't covered, which is love, perhaps we should do that tonight. Perhaps you see why I started talking about popular Christmas songs. The challenge to me, however, is this. When we talk about love, can we rise above the sappy romance of holiday movies? Can we rise above the wishing that is mere sentiment in so many holiday songs? What power does emotional dreaming have in the face of real-world turmoil? Why do domestic violence services receive so many calls the day after Christmas? Do we really let ourselves grasp hold of the fact that God has come into the world to make the world right again? Now, it's fair to say that the sentiment expressed in Christmas love songs or expressed in romantic Christmas movies with a happy ending, that these do point to a deep need, a real desire. But is there really anything that will satisfy that hunger for joy-filled connection? Is there anything that will satisfy our thirst for a peaceful belonging with others? My mind went to the psalm we recited a moment ago. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song. God has remembered his steadfast love. There's a bit more to that. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm have gotten him victory. He has remembered his steadfast love and his faithfulness. To me, those words speak of strength and power. When we talk of the steadfast love of God, is there something more going on than squishy sentiment? Perhaps this is because we look to our human experience to describe love. We see love leading to heartbreak and sorrow. We see love being taken advantage of because someone thinks that the power of love is the same as coercion, which leads to abuse and to domestic violence. To be sure, when the Bible speaks of God's power, we do see the ancient warrior God of the Old Testament. We heard words from the prophet, "The Lord has bared his holy arm." Now that brings out my inner adolescent, who was pasty weak, wishing I had bulging biceps instead of a flabby tummy. Yet Christmas time is essential if we want to start to grasp what God's love looks like, what God's love is. And since the Bible claims that God is love, that would mean this would show us what human love is supposed to be. In our society, we see parents, upon news that a baby is on the way, they'll be preparing the nursery with the latest equipment, or at least wishing they could. But in Christmas, we see the eternal God letting his Son be placed where livestock feed. In our society, we see parents doing all they can to shelter their children. Yet in Christmas, we see the God of peace sending guys who kept sheep with who knows what disease, sending them to visit the vulnerable infant. And what can we say of parents who risk everything trying to make it to a place they heard has plenty of food, good health care, and opportunity for all? So in the Christmas story, we read of Immanuel, the child whose name means God is with us. We read of him becoming a refugee. How do these pictures of God's action compare to our images of love? Do we see how God's love, the love of the all-powerful God, is shown in humility, in willingness to enter those places that he rightly could have avoided? And as followers of Jesus Christ, we remember that we celebrate this holy day because of another day that happened when this baby had grown to be a man. We remember that when God in Christ bared his holy arm, we humans nailed it to the cross. That is love, which is humble and vulnerable. That is God's love, which goes deeper than sentiment. That is God's love, which has the wisdom to sort through our wishes. That is God's love, which brings to reality our hope for joy, our hope for peace. All I want for Christmas is you. Are you singing that to someone? For sure, God is singing that to you.